Hello everyone, welcome to the Modern Musician Podcast. My name's Dan Davies.
And I'm Ben Meinl, and we've been shooting an amazing metal guitar rhythm workshop with the mighty Joss Allen.
Hello.
Hello indeed. And we thought a perfect opportunity, as we are Musicisum and we make the Modern Musician Podcast, this is a great chance to sit down with Joss and rack his brains about all things metal. So Joss, for the good people at home, could you introduce yourself and tell them a bit about you?
Okay. Well, hello everybody. My name is Joss Allen. I'm a guitar player from Brighton. I've done a few different kind of YouTube channels, and I love to play metal.
I can tell the passion and excitement, and as you've said, engorgement that you brought towards the metal genre has been
engorging.
Truly admirable.
Thank you.
It's been a very enjoyable week, dude. So I guess just to recap on what we've done here, you've come into the Musicisum studios and made a absolutely killer workshop, a set of lessons all around someone that's aimed at someone that wants to get into metal playing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of encompassed it all in one thing there. It's just basically a look at some of the techniques that are kind of vital to playing metal rhythm guitar. And that's kind of basically it, just checking out a bunch of different techniques that both are involved with your right and your left hand. And yeah,
it's been sick, man.
It's been really fun.
Also genuinely impressed. Like, really, I know you've done a lot on video before, but to see it in person, like the speed and the kind of confidence and charisma you've brought has been sick.
Oh, awesome.
I'm very excited to put this out.
Cool. Yeah, me too, man.
So to dive into a bit about you, how did you get into guitar? What was the early days of guitar like for you?
So the early days of guitar, I started playing guitar literally just because I listened to Nothing Else Matters by Metallica. It was a single bought for me by my uncle, and I was listening to it in the south of France. And as soon as I heard James Hetfield's guitar solo, I was like, yeah, I have to be able to do that.
Yeah.
The funny thing about that is that I've only just kind of recently learnt the guitar solo.
Okay.
Like, after playing like 15 years of guitar, it just for some reason, even though it was the spark and I was like, that's the solo, I never learnt it.
Yeah.
But only learnt it recently, and then obviously an even bigger sense of admiration for it then, being an adult, a 29-year-old man, and kind of going, wow, like, okay, he's just playing in one specific area of the E minor pentatonic, but it still sounds like it's because the emotiveness on it, the sheer amount of like passion. And even when you watch the video of him recording it in the studio, it's just like, it's just huge.
All the feels.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what made me want to play guitar, basically. And then I asked mum and dad for a guitar, and that was it. Started off on a nylon strung classical acoustic, started learning fingerstyle and everything by a guitar teacher that lived down the road in a guitar shop that was on St James's Street in Brighton. And
You lived in a guitar shop?
He didn't live in a guitar shop. No. He taught out of this guitar shop, but it was only classic style finger stuff. And I got bored of that like insanely quickly because I wanted to learn Nothing Else Matters. I didn't want to learn, whatever. The classical
flamenco.
Just finger style acoustic nylon strung guitar stuff, and I just kind of moved on from there.
So who are some of your biggest inspirations in terms of guitar? Like, you have to pick the top three that have shaped your style.
So the people that have actually shaped my style are completely different from the people that I admire right now.
Okay.
So the people that actually had the most impact on me were Mike McCready from Pearl Jam, the guitar player in Pearl Jam. Both Mike and Stone Gossard, but because when you're younger, you're watching the guy who's playing all the guitar solos, Yeah. So Mike McCready was one of the big things for me in terms of wanting to learn how to, play guitar solos. Zakk Wylde is probably the most integral part to my sound, like, ever. I don't really listen to him anymore now because the Black Label Society thing was never interesting to me. I had all his live DVDs for the Black Label stuff, and that sounded super heavy and like super gnarly and pinches and sick solos and stuff. And then when I bought a record or a CD, I listened to it and I was like, for me, there's like no power there.
Okay.
I don't know what it is about the way Black Label produce their records. It's just, for me, it just doesn't sound powerful. But the live thing, the live DVDs were huge. So I used to listen to those way more than listening to his CDs. And obviously loads of early Ozzy Osbourne stuff when Zach was playing, and Pride and Glory, which we've spoken about, which you just bought the record.
Yeah. So I was just going to jump in there and actually say, like, what was really cool about doing this shoot with you is I'd forgotten about that Pride and Glory record. Like, it was part of, like, probably the same as you, like learning guitar, like that was just like a hallmark of just, I want to be able to shred like this. And I haven't listened to it in years, and then you came along and you were like, this record. I was like, actually, it's sick. So I played it a bunch and I was like, I'm just going to buy it on record. And it turned up, and it's a printed vinyl. It's got a massive cow on it. It's brilliant.
And obviously when he sent me a video of it playing, and this cow's just spinning slowly on this record.
Brilliant.
It's amazing. But it's also, like the other amazing thing about, well, let me just finish Zach Wilde, Mike McCready, Dimebag Darrell, obviously is another huge integral part to my growing up. Being a 90s kid, a lot of that stuff was, at the forefront of metal at that point. But, I was brought up on grunge. So we're talking, in terms of bands, we're talking Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Mother Love Bone. We're talking I was even listening to crazy Japanese stuff, like the Mad Capsule Markets, like really obscure 90s Japanese bands and stuff like that. So, and that was all down to my dad. My dad just like listening to Pearl Jam, and then me kind of being cognitive that he's playing rock music and not your standard pop music, So that was kind of really cool.
So based on the kind of profile that you've got out there, a lot of metal riffs, a lot of shred, are there any other genres of music that you're into that people wouldn't necessarily expect from you?
I guess, so like massively into hip hop and like modern rap music and old school 90s rap music and everything like that. For some reason, I think a lot of metal guys are sometimes. I don't know. Speaking to John, who's with us as well behind the camera, and just talking about the sheer amount of hip hop that, we do listen to other than just metal.
Were you into it when you were younger? Because, like, I don't know, you probably had the same experience, but when I was at school and sort of growing up and developing my music taste, there were definitely just camps of people who listened. They had a very strict intake of their music. So were you like a metal grunge guy growing up, and then later you appreciated hip hop and other stuff?
100%. Because at that period in time, if you were listening to, what it's like, if you're in groups of kids, if I was listening to rap music, that was like a chav thing to do, and they're walking around with their collars up, and they're like, oh, so you're a chav now. It was like a thing, like, you're a chav, and I was like, no, I'm a grunger. No matter what sort of style of heavy music you were listening to, you were like a grunger.
Grebo.
Yeah, grebo. And there was all these like derogatory terms towards someone who listened to like heavy music. But if you were a chav, for some reason it was like recognized as the higher form. Do you know what I mean? But so no.
Funny how things have changed.
I know, right? Like, it's crazy. The thing for me, right, with that whole chav thing is like, now chavs have become like that sort of like aggressive indie kid. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
it's funny how it was the same because we all grew up in different regions, right? You grew up in the southeast.
I grew
born
and bred
in the
here.
southwest. You grew up in the northwest, or Midlands northwest.
Yeah.
And that was the same across. I mean, it's a relatively small country, but those experiences were the same. It wasn't like down in Devon, like us grungers won it out and we were the top of the food chain. It wasn't the case.
But hip hop, man. Hip hop is but like the two, apart from the love for my guitar, my heavy music, my family and my girlfriend, rap music and my love for like high-end clothing is like up there with guitar. Big time.
So what is it about hip hop as a genre that really appeals to you?
You know what it is? Like the style of hip hop that I love to listen to is especially the 90s stuff. The grooves that are in hip hop are incredibly reminiscent of metal in terms of like make your screwy face. When I mean, all I have to do is listen to like any of the new Travis Scott stuff that's got like reminiscence of this old school 90s R&B vibe to it, and you're just like, oh my god, that goes so heavy. Do you know what I mean? And it's all like behind the beat, and you're just like boom, boom, bah, boom, boom, and you're just like, oh my god. And it's just like, it's exactly the same thing I do when I'm listening to metal. I'll be like, holy crap, you're like da, 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 and you're like, what the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'll have the same reaction to like a Kendrick Lamar record, or like when I saw Post Malone live, I was like crying. I was like, oh my god, like, do you know what I mean? It was that good for me. So it's like it's definitely up there with metal. It's just that, you know, I'm a white middle class English fella who just loves metal, but if I could rap, I'm sure I would. Do you know what I mean?
It'd be great if you could do it with the same speed that you can play guitar.
Exactly.
It'd be a whole new genre,
right? So hip hop is massively up there for me.
Sick.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
So you spent like a good few years with like retail experience. Like you've been working in the music industry from a retail experience. You've done customer service. You've sold musical instruments. What are some of the highlights and lowlights from doing that?
I guess some of the highlights, I guess, is the cheesiness of just like passing on information to somebody that is going to hopefully cherish that information for the rest of their lives, because once they find something out that's actually true and real about a guitar product, and then they experience it for themselves by playing it, they're going to pass that information on to the next person. So I really like that, whether it's like a technical thing of how to change strings or how to change your pickups, or it's an actual technique style thing where a kid comes up and goes, you know, I can't do this, and you show them how to do that, and then they tell someone else. Just that whole sort of grapevine thing of constantly passing on information.
Does that still happen?
I think so. I think so.
Because obviously the internet has kind of changed,
of course,
that experience, but people still come in and you get to like show them.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different now. I've got like even the remote small amount of notoriety on social platforms, I get asked that stuff. Yeah. But if I didn't have that social platform that I have, I don't think I would get asked, because at the end of the day, you know what the English public are like. You know, we are personally inherently lazy population of people, I personally feel, and I'm definitely one of those lazy people. So when it comes to a shopping experience, whether it's like a Louis Vuitton bag or a £3,000 Gibson Les Paul Custom, I think 80% of people that I know buy from me or buy from the store want it to be a relatively fast situation, you know, because it's not, you know, it's an adrenaline rush to spend that amount of money. To some people, it's not a fun thing. They complain about it while they're buying the guitar, you know? And you're like, this is supposed to be good, man. But
I never thought of it like that. No. Because I've only ever really made, you know, maybe one or two really like expensive drum purchases, and that was my first real proper kit, and I saved up for ages to buy it, and it was like, this is the day.
Yeah, man.
But I guess the idea of someone like, I'm just gonna have to part with $3,000 for this guitar. But yeah, I suppose it's almost like some people are just compelled to buy the high end stuff. You know,
like we were talking about the Demoness guitar I just purchased.
Yeah,
and that's like a £3,500 guitar, and it's like a custom made thing. And when I parted with that money, it was definitely a different feeling to when I was, 15, if I could part with £3,500, to when I was like 29 now, being like, I was like, okay, cool, I've got this money, this could go on the house, but it's going on a custom made guitar.
Good call.
Yeah, right. But once it was done, once the money's out there and it's gone to the person who's building the guitar, and you get little snapshots of your guitar every now and then and it's building
That's
progress,
cool.
you're like, that's the feeling I'm after,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sick.
Yeah, dude.
But on the negative side of things, to be honest, for me, it's just customer facing work. Yeah. I'm quite an introverted person, so I do like to stay at home, and I do like to, carry anti-bac around and use it every 10 seconds, and I do like to not, once I've done like this week's course, my social like capabilities will be shot for like a week. Do you know what I mean? So when it's like working in customer facing work, that's probably, to be honest, the only negative thing about, serving customers guitars and stuff, because guitars are rad. Them buying guitars is rad. It's just the interaction between two people when I'm quite an introverted person is always quite difficult anyway.
Sure.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. So what are you focusing on as a player at the moment? Like when you sit down to work on stuff outside of writing and what you're doing musically, like what as an individual player, what are you focused on?
Probably at the moment, just like apart from the standard technique and practice, probably just like mental health.
Yeah.
I think that's probably one of the most important things within the music industry and the social industry that's just not looked upon enough. You know, I have this thing where, you know, it's morbid as hell, but if I've got like a headache, I'm like, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
You know, if I've got a stomach ache, then I'm going to be sick. You know, whereas when it comes to like, as well, looking up to people within the social remit of things like on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and stuff like that, I hold these people to such insanely high regard that I'm like, you know, I have to keep going. I have to work. I have to keep playing to get to that point when necessarily, you know, I should be just looking after myself, you know, and looking after my mental health and stuff like that. So right now, you know, listening to a lot of chilled music and meditating, like not meditating, but actually like just taking 10, 20 minutes of my day to sit there and read a book or, you know, or listen to an audio book on my bed, just laying there for 20 minutes, or something like that, you know, just to look after your head a little bit because, you know, if that goes on you, then, you know, everything you've worked for is going to go on you. For
sure. I think that's a huge, the online comparison game is something we've spoken to a lot of musicians about, isn't it? You know, I feel it all the time. You know, I think, you know, some people find Instagram, for example, really inspiring, and sometimes I do, but sometimes I find it just crushingly, overwhelmingly full of people who are really, really good at what they do. And sometimes you're just like, oh man, you almost can't see a path to getting that good.
Yeah.
You know, and then sometimes I watch it, I'll be like, it's really inspiring to, you know, to go and practice to play like that. But, you know, you can definitely see how people spin out, just looking at that, the comparison side of stuff. People spin out with just like comparing themselves to, you know, we always say it's like the the highlight reel of Instagram. Everyone's best moments compared to your reality is never going to be a fair comparison.
I mean, I've done it, you know, I've looked through my Instagram page and I've started you see people that were like lower on the followers on Instagram than you, and now they're past you, and you're like, why? You're like, why am I not like further than I was 2 months ago, you know what I mean? But you have to take that with a pinch of salt, unfortunately, and you have to just be like, those guys are in the same boat as well, you know. So that's why we all have to be like this musicism thing. Is if I didn't know you, I wouldn't be doing this, and if I didn't know you, I wouldn't be doing the neural stuff and all the stuff that's exciting in my life at the moment, you know. And those guys are doing the exact same thing. They're all like, you know, we're supposed to be here to carry each other and help each other along the way and stuff like that. So as soon as there's like toxicity in those environments, I'm like, beep, put it down. You know, you have to. And I've got my girlfriend to tell me that as well. Because she hates social media. She hates it. So she's like, you know, she gets super bummed out that like the most of my time is spent on my phone doing something. And she has to remind me, you know, she's like, dude, put the phone down for like 10 minutes. And I'm like, no, you're right, cool. You know, and I think that's important.
It is.
I think that's really important.
She left some well cute comments on our Instagram though in reply to you.
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh, because I tagged her in a photo of myself. I was like, look, babe, look, I'm doing something.
I thought that was cool.
What you were talking about there, like focusing on the mental health thing, maybe your answer to this question, but being someone who's kind of gone out of the retail thing and started navigating the music industry as a solo artist, as a demonstrator, as, you know, all the things you've done, is there anything you think doesn't get spoken about enough in the industry?
Yeah, I mean, it is clear that the mental health issue is like probably the biggest one, I think, but. No, I guess like I haven't come across anything yet, basically. I haven't come across anything that I'm not able to speak to somebody about yet. I think that the mental health and the hiding behind your social facade is easier than obviously a face-to-face situation. So I think that just the sheer amount of people that are capable of posting a video having a go at somebody else, but then when they meet in person, it's like they're best friends.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I don't physically, mentally understand it, because like I'm not a numbers guy, but if I see it laid out, I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, we're going to do that. So like with this course, I was like, yeah, sweet, can you guys help me? Of course, cool, let's get it done. If it was like, oh, just, do whatever you want and you guys didn't put any input in, then I'd be here just babbling away, saying bullshit, really. Do you know what I mean? But that whole thing of being able to post a video out and say, I hate this person, and then you see them and you're like, dude, best of friends.
Yeah,
I physically don't understand it, because it's like, if someone done that to me, if someone posted a thing about me and was like, I don't like you, and they were like, dude, I'd be like, 1 second, man, can you just explain to me why you don't like me? Like, what have I done? So that is, I think, is not a talking point, but I think it's something that should stop.
It's interesting that seems to, not necessarily the whole two-faced sided thing that you're talking about there, but it's interesting that there's a lot more drama in the, specifically the guitar part of the music industry right now.
And definitely like the shred metal thing. I mean, if anybody follows on me on Instagram, you'll see that like maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was posting about like I don't, what's going on with all this like toxicity in the shred guitar world at the moment, because it was that whole speeding up your playing thing.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden everyone was jumping on the bandwagon to just like have a go at people they've never even met before.
Yep.
So we all know that people have done it. Why talk about it? Do you know what I mean? If that's the way they're selling their product and hundreds of thousands of people are buying their product, leave them to it. Do your own thing, personally.
I think it's also important for people listening to this, if they're thinking about putting out their own content, I do think a fear that holds a lot of people back is the fear of negative comments.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I think, no one likes to get negative comments, but I do think it's important to remember that most people are a lot braver behind a keyboard or a phone than they are in real life.
Yeah, for sure.
And the sooner you can accept the fact you're going to get negative comments, the sooner you'll be successful with your content.
And I think you really have to go one step further and embrace it.
Yeah.
Rather than just deal with it and be like, oh, I don't, actually go, you know what? The very nature of putting stuff out there, someone is going to have something negative to say, particularly when it's kind of hiding behind a screen. And I think you have to just go, well, if that's part of, success, or even if success is just defined as having the balls to put something out there, then I think you have to fully embrace it and expect it.
100%, man. Literally 100%. I couldn't agree with you more, because I'm sure we've all had a fair share of it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when I first went on the Andertons channel, first week, I was absolutely destroyed. And I was just like, came home and to my girlfriend, I was like, well, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
And then literally, and it takes a little bit of perseverance. And then, after a little while, it was no more. It was non-existent. It was, I'm glad Joss has found his feet on the Andertons channel situation, Yeah. It was a horrible couple of weeks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a delicate person, so that was like,
I think
see you later.
Most people don't. Most people, until they've adjusted to the fact that there are random strangers on the internet criticizing their playing, voice, looks, everything.
Yeah. What's up with those glasses?
I know.
Yeah.
Outdowment.
Yeah, dude, trust me, I've had it all.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So, I guess to wrap this up and to flip it back on for people at home that are I'm hoping that people are going to see your your metal rhythm guitar workshop. But I just want to put some stuff out there for advice for people that wanting to get into metal. Obviously we've covered a lot of this on the course in a lot of detail, but for someone listening that they've been playing guitar for a while, they're getting into metal, maybe they're struggling to find their feet with it. What are some just really great starting points for developing as a metal guitarist?
I mean, regardless of all the morbid stuff I just said.
That is actually very metal.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I hate life. Apart from all of that stuff, the one thing that like gets me super pumped for just playing guitar or just playing metal guitar is just watching those, like, not the YouTubers, not the Instagrammers, not all that stuff, is watching successful unbelievably good guitar players. Watch those dudes and just consume all of that inspiration and just be like, that's why I play guitar, right? Because I'm about to smash that alternate pick lick, or I'm about to smash that bleed rhythm, you know what I mean? And it's just like, that's where it's all at. And just, take it slow. Like, metal is one of the harder forms of rhythmic music, you know, as we all know, like with you playing the drums in like pretty progressive heavy styles of music and stuff. It's a difficult thing. I struggle with learning new riffs every time I go into a new piece of music, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's it's like, take your time with it, start it off slow, and just get inspiration from anything you can. And I think that's like a really good kind of starting point, not a technical or technique style starting point, but just like, it's all about inspiration, isn't it? So just kind of find it wherever you find inspiration strikes you the most, I think.
I love that. And we've spoken this before, haven't we? That like, that's the fuel of everything.
Yeah, for sure.
That thing you just said right there is the thing that you need to find and hold on to for your entire musical career, your entire life playing music, because that can easily go when you get too granularly focused in one area of playing, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Even in my own, I've really started like practicing drums again recently. Like I play a lot, but I play in the bands, I play in the stuff that I'm doing, and not as much time just going, you know what, phone off, camera off, everything off. I'm just me and the drums. I'm gonna work on this thing.
Yeah.
And what's really fueled that has been listening to and reconnecting to music that I'm just like, because that is the fuel, isn't it? That's the thing that gets you psyched.
100%.
Yeah. I think what you said that really supports that is you started learning the guitar because you heard Nothing Else Matters and the guitar solo, and you still rate that as like one of your favorite or your absolute favorite.
That is my
today.
Absolute favorite guitar solo. Yeah.
I mean, that speaks for itself. Like that's the passion and the inspiration is, if you can hear the first thing you ever heard that made you want to do a thing and it still makes you feel that way today, then you're on track.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for sure.
You're writing music?
Oh yeah, I'm writing music.
You dropped some singles. You dropping some more singles?
Yes. Yeah. It's a project that I started God knows how long called, it wasn't called anything. I was just releasing stuff. And then I ended up finding guys that were also just kind of into it as well. We released a track called No Mercy, which is out on Spotify at the moment. The band name is Mutilius.
Mutilius?
Yes.
Your band, Mutilius.
Yeah.
How do you spell it?
I don't know, actually, off the top of my head, to be fair.
I'm going to guess it's MUTILLIOUS.
Yes, I think it is.
Just for the people listening who want to go and check out.
Yeah.
I was spelling it in my head. I was like,
yeah. Well, I used to call it. I thought it was. To be honest, the only reason it's called Mutilius is because I misspelt it.
Excellent. That's how some of the best
trying
names.
to spell
Mutilus.
Oh, right, okay.
Because that was basically the character's name. Like, the front cover is the guy wielding an axe, destroying goblins to save his fair maiden.
Excellent.
And I was like, I need
Mutilus.
Yeah, exactly. And then I sent the guy who's doing the artwork the name of the band and the project, and I just misspelt it. And so he done the art.
Story.
So he done the artwork like that, and I was like, bollocks.
You really paid me now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
now
great.
It's Mutilius.
So now it's Mutilius.
I like
well, someone
that.
came up to me and was like, dude, I love the Mutilius track. And I was like, excuse me? And he was like, the Mutilius track. And I was like, oh, that's how you pronounce it for my own project. Yeah. So
but that's out on Spotify and Apple Music and all that.
It is.
Right
it's
now.
out on iTunes,
Amazing.
Apple Music, Spotify, and I will be releasing the next single hopefully pretty soon. But I've got some. It took a little bit of a backstop just because I'm releasing some. Not music, but some cool gear. So that kind of took precedent before the music, actually, which it should never do. Always music before gear. But in this situation, the gear was coming up faster than I was capable of actually finishing the music. So
Forgiven.
Other than the singles and some of the gear, can you talk about any of the gear? What else? What else is coming up for you?
So I assume by the time this is out, my signature guitar will be out, which is like
couple of weeks away, I think.
Yeah, like when's Birmingham Guitar Show? The 29th to the 1st. So if you're going to the Birmingham Guitar Show, or if you were at the Birmingham Guitar Show, you would have seen my new signature guitar with SMP guitars. Sick. That's like the dream come true, you know.
I've seen some sneak preview pictures and it's filth.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm excited for you.
Yeah, man. Stu has absolutely destroyed it. It's unbelievable. Yeah, last night I was on my own and just been playing some Apex Legends with my friend Lewis on the old PlayStation 4. Guitar Bros Lewis.
Shout out Lewis.
Yeah, man. Lewis, who I take to NAMM with me every year, he's coming to the Birmingham Guitar Show with me as well, and my girlfriend. It's my first guitar show I'm taking my girlfriend to.
Awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know what...
she'll have an experience.
Yeah.
It's to be decided how that will be.
Exactly, yeah.
I hope it's a good one.
I booked a really nice hotel.
There you go.
Like a really nice hotel.
You counted guitar overload with that.
Exactly, so. Yeah. I went on Expedia and found like a 4.5-star hotel for like...
That's all it goes up to in Birmingham.
Right, yeah.
You actually have to leave Birmingham to get
someone else stole the other half.
Yeah.
Just for the record, I'm speaking as someone that was born in Birmingham, so I'm allowed.
Yeah. It's man. So I've booked a really nice hotel. So hopefully she digs that. And yeah, so at that show I'm releasing my signature guitar, which is a dream come true.
Badass.
At the end of the year, there's another item that's coming out, which I can't talk about, and there's another piece of gear that's coming out in a month and a half or 2 months time, which I'll be able to talk about then as well. So
sick.
There's some really effing cool bits on the horizon.
So if people want to find out about all of that kind of stuff, where do they find you on the internets?
So you can obviously find me on Instagram at Joss_Alan_. You can find me on the Guitar Amp and Keyboard Center YouTube channel, where I do all the product demonstrational videos on the guitars for those guys. And you can find me obviously on my pride and joy Guitar Bros demos, which me and my best friend Tom do all of that stuff together. And we've just introduced another guitar bro. His name's Mark. He plays in a really sick instrumental band. See, instrumental music, you see, to me.
Yeah, that's it, defined. I'm off.
Yeah, see ya. Instrumental band called Inflection. He's another Brighton lad, just moved down from London, and he's a really lovely guy. Thank you. Massive shout out to Mark, actually, because he's the dude that let me borrow his Aristides for these classes, for this lesson.
Yep.
Seeing as that none of my guitars and none of Rabeer's guitars have got fretboard markers on them.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh God, who could I ask? And I was like, Rabeer's got about 1,000 guitars. So I was like, dude, is there any chance you got a guitar? And he was like, I haven't got any metal guitars with like fretboard markers. And I was like, shit. But then my buddy Mark hit me up and said, yeah, I've got some. So thank you, Mark, for that.
Just to clarify, fretboard markers, because for the tuition stuff, it's much easier for you guys watching at home to see with fretboard
where
markers.
I am. Yeah, exactly where I am on the fretboard.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's basically about it. After that, obviously, once all the gear's out and throughout the year, I'll be releasing some more music. Got Scott doing lyric vocals on this track at the moment, so that should be out within the next coming month or so. And yeah, that's about it, really. Just more YouTube content.
Well, you are good at it. So.
Thank you very much, man.
I wish you all the best, and may your online trajectory continue upwards. But no, honestly, from me and from Dan and everyone at Musicisum, thank you for coming in and spending the time.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a really enjoyable week, and you should be proud of what you've made with this workshop. And I do think for everyone that's going to pick it up and check it out, there is just a massive amount of information and lifespan in that stuff that can really help people develop their metal guitar playing. So
yeah, I really, really hope. And also, I'm just excited for people. I want you guys, if you do get it, just message me to see how it goes. I'd love to see how it takes you.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
sweet.
Cool, man.
On the count of 3, say riffs. 1, 2, 3.
Riffs.
Bye, everyone.